Hi, everyone. I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media. You're listening to Know How Marketing Lab podcast. This podcast brings together different experts in marketing from our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Each week, we get on here and we talk about something search marketing like Google Ads or SEO, social media marketing from Facebook to TikTok, or website marketing. If you're a marketer or aspiring marketer, a business owner or entrepreneur, this podcast for you. We're going to share the best SEO, search, social, and website strategies. We share tips and hacks, Google Ads strategies, what's going on in the current market. Each week, we discuss something exciting and awesome in marketing. Today, we are talking about GPT and the integration with Bing, because Chat GPT, if you haven't tried it, is amazeballs, and it's been integrated to Bing because Microsoft owns it. There's a lot more to this story, so if you're joining us, say hello, and I'm just gonna get comments up and check that we're in the groups. And Phelan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi there. My name is Phelan. I, of course, work with Pip at Seymour Digital Media, where we focus on search engine marketing. And yeah, today, like Pip was saying, we were going to talk about YouTube SEO, but there's been so much breaking news regarding ChatGPT and how it's getting integrated into the world of SEO that we thought we would do a drastic pivot and switch over to talking about that today.
Right. Oh, hold on. There we go. Just seeing things. Okay, so let's dive right in. What am I trying to say here? Ecamm has relaunched their fourth version, so lots of change. I had a comment that I wanted to put up, but of course I don't know where it is because I'm new to this. So Phelan, ChatGPT. You were
Yeah.
saying a little while ago that ChatGPT is actually just a segment of Google's new AI system that they gave to Microsoft. Is that correct?
No. So that you've got like the broad strokes, right? But like just to clarify it a little bit, what happened is Google created, it's called large language modeling. So they basically took all language on the internet and then said, when you have the word like large, sometimes it's followed by the word language, and then that word is usually followed by the word model. And so that is kind of how they did it, is they basically, it's a probability. And then what happened is OpenAI, which is a company that does a lot of research into AI technologies, they took what Google had done in their work 5 years ago and then built a new version of it, and they kind of updated it and worked on the algorithm, and that became ChatGPT, or that became GPT, which is like an acronym. I'm not going to get into what it means. It's a very boring engineering name. And then that became GPT-3, and then GPT-3 got into something called Chat GPT. And so that's where we are now. And what had happened in the last it got finalized. So I'm going to guess that they probably had this going in the works because there's so much money. But Microsoft seeing the future of their office tools, because that's where they've said that it's going to be going to, is more their office tools over the search is, and the SEO, I think it's more secondary based on what they have said in shareholder meetings, is that it's going towards their office tools to improve workers' productivity. And so they gave them $10 billion to OpenAI to then integrate it more deeply with the Microsoft suite, because Microsoft obviously makes most of its money from enterprise Word and all of the enterprise level software that they do. So it's definitely going to get pointed there.
And didn't Google yesterday, so they're in Lambda phase, right?
Yeah.
With the bigger version of their Chat GPT, and they are losing money hand over fist because they did a live launch and there were some inaccurate things.
Well, yes. So what had happened yesterday is that Google did a small private beta of their Bard, which is going to be the official version of Lambda, which
Some
these are
people
all
don't like that name.
also the fact that they already have a product called Lambda, which is very annoying for anyone who knows how to use Google Cloud. It's already another service that they have called Lambda, spelt like the Greek letter, LMBDA. Lambda for GPT doesn't have the B. It's really annoying. Blame the engineers for naming things.
Yeah, they're not good at
Uh,
things. They're not good at naming things.
yeah, they're not. So what's happened is that they released it. It had a bunch of factual errors in the language that it got, the language modeling that it had, and so this got reported out. And so they didn't lose money, but their stock price took a hit for that day. My guess is that over the long run, they're probably not going to be. But like any software product that gets released, yeah, there's usually errors. Like 9 times out of 10, if you actually go back and like even the Chat GPT, people got it to say really offensive things that they said that it wasn't able to do, and then people convinced ChatGPT to say some really awful things that it was supposed to not say. So there's always bad press that comes out, because that's just the nature of any sort of software launch, is that there's always going to be hiccups, and I think
Right?
over time it's going to get smoothed out.
Totally. Slowly smoothed out. Slowly smoothed out. But that being said, so why we wanted to get on here live today, for a couple of reasons. So although Chat GPT came out a couple weeks ago, and we know some of our clients are using it every day. I just talked to a client this morning, and he was using it to create invoice things or estimates. So saving people time, right?
Yeah.
As marketers, who hasn't been in there, it seemed to naturally go towards writing emails. I mean, you do have to workshop these things now, but
Yeah.
so everybody's been using Chat GPT for a couple weeks, right? Or a week or so. But why today? Why today are we getting on here? Because yesterday, Google or Bing, because you're gonna Bing it now, people. You're gonna Bing it. Have you been over there? It's sexy. It's like Google, but like on steroids, maybe a little. So it is gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. They've integrated Chat GPT into their search system. So it is now a major rival for Google. That, and we all know, if you've ever worked in a corporate job, sometimes they don't let you onto Facebook and they don't let you onto Google while you're working. Pattison Outdoor, I worked at the billboard company in sales, and we weren't allowed. It's funny because we're in sales, so we're trying to get business, so we should have been allowed. But Microsoft was allowed because we used their tools. So Bing, for a lot of companies, and we do talk about this when we meet our clients, Bing is a resource that can be utilized. Like, Bing Places now is going to be a big deal. And if you sign in to Bing today, you can get, and we're going to talk to our clients about this, you can get $600 for $300 when you spend $300 for Google Ads. So they're pushing
Microsoft Ads.
Microsoft. Damn, Microsoft Ads. So ChatGPT has not been integrated into their ads platform. They are separate and distinct algorithms still. But I wonder, right? The future is crazy, because Google's going to come out with theirs. It's going to work. It's probably there. We are now seeing an all out war for search, right? Which means, because search is like, if you look at any back end of any website, for the most part, at least 50% of all traffic comes from Google, right?
Yeah, based on unless they have a paid ad strategy and they're continuously paying into it. But generally, over time, any website that's been around long enough, Google Organic, it's going to be the thing that is going to be bringing in traffic on a consistent basis that you're not paying for. I mean, that's what else are you going to be bringing in traffic with? It's going to be search, and it's still, Google is 90% dominant in every country outside of Russia and China. So, and South Korea. South Korea also has their own version of Google.
Right. So is ChatGPT just for English language speakers right now?
I'm going to assume, because it's the lingua franca of the internet, that meaning that's the working language that everyone uses, that yes, it most likely it's going to be done in English. Also, that English makes up a majority of the text that's online. So it's the easiest one to do large language modeling.
But yeah, I mean, BERT's, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got excited. Go on.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that, yeah, you did touch on it, which was the BERT and how Google does Google Translate, my guess is that they're probably going to be able to integrate that, because how Google works is they actually invented their own language, which is it's like there's again a very boring linguist and engineers got together and they made a new language, and so it's got like the most boring acronym name,
And
but
very hard
basically,
to understand. Yeah.
yeah, it's incredibly boring and hard to understand. But it's like, take a noun, a verb, and how this adverb relates to that and how they all get positioned. And it's like interoperable. So like instead of translating directly from like Finnish to Spanish, you're translating Finnish to this in between language, then that gets translated to Spanish.
Well, and if you didn't know, so what's happened in the last, year or two is Google's had some major shifts with some algorithm updates that integrate some AI stuff. So we had BERT, which is biodirectional. So it's going to understand more when we search, because sometimes we don't get the results we want on Google, right? And it's because the systems didn't understand what we were asking for. And so they had this biodirectional. So it's not just the keyword plus keyword plus keyword plus keyword that ends up with the search result. It is now, what comes before and what comes after the keyword. So that was BERT. And then we have MUM, which is slowly being let out. And
MUM was multi-directional versus bidirectional.
Multi-directional, and can, take in information from video and text and images all at the same time in multiple languages. So when ChatGPT, or whatever they're going to call it, Bard, gets integrated, we should see some amazing things with Google. I mean, most of their revenue comes for ABC is the company name now.
It's Alphabet. 85% of their revenue comes from ads. So it's and then 10% is their hosting. So like Google Cloud product.
And if you didn't know, or if you do Google Ads, maybe you as a marketer or as a business owner have been bombarded by the Google's ad reps. So here's what's going on in Google. Lots of people have been fired. Some people who have been fired know that other people are going to be leaving the company, but they don't know who, and that's in Europe. In the States, it's different. Lots of people have been let go. And then we started getting all these calls to book meetings with these reps. And if you have big dollars you're spending on Google Ads, you'll get a better rep. Like, that's what I've kind of noticed. But the reps are there to try to get you to sell more. And I'll tell you a secret. I've been in sales a lot. Spend more. Yeah. So the secret is that these reps have a quota, and that quota is based on how much money the advertiser is spending. So say they have 100 advertisers that they deal with, and the 100 advertisers are spending, let's say, just round numbers, $100,000. Yeah. If somebody lowers their budgets, all of a sudden their quota, they're not hitting their quota because one of their advertisers has lowered their budget. It's craziness. It's a real sales job. So when you're getting calls and advice from Google Ads reps, the first thing they're going to tell you is, why aren't you on maximize conversions? The second thing they're going to tell you is, please increase your budgets, and why don't you hit some of those automations?
Yeah, so those auto apply recommendations are dangerous.
So the people at Google are trying to keep their jobs, which means they have to hit their quotas, which means you have to keep spending the money you spend plus increase it, because it's not like they're farming clients. It's not like they're getting more. They're given these clients because they're already advertisers, right? And Google is now telling business owners that they need to hire a marketing company. So that is a good thing for us, that you need to hire a marketing company now to do Google Ads, because it's so hard. So if you're interested in Google Ads, we can talk more about that later, because it's, a great place to work when you work in that platform. So there's so much going on in search. It's like topsy-turvy crazy. People are afraid of losing their jobs. People don't know if they'll have jobs. People don't know what ChatGPT is going to do to them or their jobs. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. So one other thing to keep in mind is that the tool of using ChatGPT is also going through its own changes, where they've made announcements that it's not just going to be free to use. They're going to make it a paid connection.
Okay, so how does that work with if it's on Bing?
Bing paid $10 billion to make sure that they get to use it.
But Bing and ChatGPT, are not they owned by the same people, Microsoft?
Nope.
What?
They're in part. OpenAI owns ChatGPT. Microsoft gave $10 billion to OpenAI for access to ChatGPT. OpenAI owns the ChatGPT algorithm and the data underlying it.
Interesting. So they're going to get acquired at some point, no?
They can't.
Oh,
Legally,
and
they cannot be acquired because they're a nonprofit that does research, and so you can't acquire a nonprofit. You can acquire a for-profit company, but you can't. As far as I know, I'm not obviously not a lawyer, not an American accountant, but my understanding is the
no.
501c3s for charity, you can't just like buy them. Like you can't. That's not how those work. And so you can partner with them. You could say, hey, we would like to license this from you, but you can't just buy them outright or acquire them.
Isn't that interesting?
One thing to bear in mind as well for anyone using ChatGPT is that it's not going to be perfect. B, it doesn't get any sort of research or factual statements. It usually gets wrong. That's one thing that people have noticed. And the other thing to bear in mind is that Google's already built a deconstructor for GPT-3. So it can take your documents, run it through its algorithm, and go, oh, this is written with ChatGPT because of how the probability model works.
I think it's interesting because, I mean, although we are all freaking out and it is all very exciting and people might be afraid, like, you know, Copysmith AI might feel like they're in trouble a little. You know, that if I owned them, I was maybe feel like any copywriting AI software, I would feel a little insecure with right now. I bet you they're getting cancellations. That being said, there are...
I would actually push back on that.
Would you?
I would say that, yeah, what I would say is that this was always going to be a gold rush, right? Or basically you're going to have 100,000 people flood in, build a tool. Really, the ChatGPT isn't actually that great at specific tasks for it. So, like, say you do, like, I want to write me a meta description that's X number of characters long that contains this keyword. But the ChatGPT actually isn't that good with constraints. It's good if you give it a free-forming idea and concept to go with, but actually telling it, fit it within these character limits, fit it within this, it's actually not as good at that out of the box. It does take some tinkering. So my guess is that this is actually still going to be a good time for those AI writers.
Want to know more about SEO? We've got a class for that. Our mission is to educate students about the right tools, techniques, and strategies to grow their businesses using the most up-to-date search engine marketing optimization techniques and tools. Find out more at knowhowmarketinglab.com.
I like what Greg is saying here. He's saying people should be cautious about information they feed into Chat GPT. Greg, tell me more, because have you, like, on Bing, it's just a search engine now, right? That people are going to type in things. So why should we be careful? I also wanted to mention that there are different types of content online. There are some things in content that can't be recreated easily with screenshots and things that, like, you know, good content with, you know, how-tos or things like that are going to be very hard to replicate, I think. Maybe you'll get the steps, but steps without screenshots or a video are bleh.
Yeah, I think that as well, that there's going to be some parts that are going to be missing about, like, a tone or an opinion about what you think about something isn't going to be there. It's usually very factually based. And that part is going to be one where I think that there's going to be a lot more. It's just not going to happen with ChatGPT. I think that also people underestimate how good it's going to be. I think it's good for a first draft. I don't think it's ever going to replace people as writers. It's never going to replace researchers, never going to replace editors.
But it might replace some AI systems. The other thing, you know, that to think about is jobs change. Some jobs go away. You know, there used to be somebody that ran down to the land office when you bought a house. That job no longer exists, right? So jobs do change over time. It's about us changing with them as we change with technology. This stuff's here to stay. So I think, Phelan, you might be right? There's always going to be a human hand in this stuff, at least in the next few generations, you know, I think it's a great opportunity for business owners and for marketers to help businesses integrate more into what's going on online so they can do better and they can win. Because a business owner without a marketer by their side might not do as well.
Yeah, I think overall it's going to be with us for a while. I mean, there's also the other, I think we were talking about this yesterday, the more cynical approach to this. It could also be related that why Bing came out with this integration and not Google that just came out is that Google also may have got sued about having too much market share. And so as like a way to combat it is that, I'm not saying that they did do this, but they could have coordinated with Microsoft to say, hey, you guys take this new cool tool, and then why don't you run with it and integrate it into your search, and then all of a sudden you take up more market share, and then all of a sudden our pressure is taken off us. It's
right, because I mean it will make a difference. So I mean that is possibly very true, but that's just us speculating. I mean, it was really interesting to figure out about Google and how they're using their staff to sell us more, right? And losing a bunch of staff, Microsoft, Google, when this is coming out is also quite unique,
Well, the timing of it, especially with the one who was the leader, was Amazon, who's been automating a lot of the white-collar jobs that it did get rid of in HR and marketing departments. And so are all these things kind of interconnected with how they're using these systems? I mean, it's hard to say that like definitively. I think that they're trying to, because it's not like Amazon's hurting for cash, and neither is Microsoft for all intents and purposes. Google wasn't either hurting for cash. They didn't need to fire those people. They chose to fire those people. That was a choice that they had made.
Yeah. And it's a lot going on in the industry now, especially. I mean, what Phelan and I make lots of jokes about how we till the land of Google. We are the serfs of Google, and we till the land for the Lord. And maybe we'll be moving some of our crops over to Bing.
Yeah. It's definitely. I think that there's got to be some changes that are going to be happening. I think that anyone who knows how this is all going to shake out is lying to you. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that also could be affected is that this might entirely collapse on itself. There might be a top level that the algorithm can't get past, and it's just it might not ever get past a certain level and might just get reduced to it only is going to get to X level.
Well, because I do wonder about the SEO. I mean, okay, so you can't necessarily easily recreate a how-to post or something like that. And I mean, or maybe a news update because the factual evidence won't be there. Like GPT might just be a tool to improve our stuff. However, integrating it into search creates a different phenomenon, because if search gets better and if SEO is based solely on, well, not solely, but if it was based on keywords, because that's what we type into Google, but if, people are now actually like, if long tail terms are just used more because Chat GPT, does it change search? Does it change how we determine what keywords to use, on our services pages? Are we focused on keywords anymore? Like it is a huge shift that might happen in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, and then kind of building off of that is one of the other changes that we've seen is like even in the Google ads, right? What used to be an exact match keyword is not exact anymore.
So painful.
And I'm sure that while the algorithm between their ads and their SEO are different, I'm sure that they're also getting looser with what is the definition of like an exact keyword that they're looking for. And maybe they're overdoing it with the, this is close enough to the word you're looking for. Well, because satisfaction with Google search results is the lowest it's been since Google's come out. So people are finding the results.
Documentation? I'd like to see that. That's talk about.
I've heard it quoted. I have to go find it.
If that's the case, then people are probably more likely to check out Bing, right? To get what they need. I mean, I search and sometimes I think I'm asking the wrong question because I'm not getting the results I'm looking for. But sometimes, when you want something or you need something, but you don't know how to explain it. And so your searching is all off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe this new system will change that. But this does have a big qualifier for SEO. And it also, I mean, if it gets integrated into ads, I mean, that's very interesting. Google's done a lot of automations there. You know, we've had in the last year, we've had our expanded text ads removed. We now have like responsive search ads, which are 15 titles, 4 descriptions, and a whole bunch of other things. But you can have 3 of those. And then Google, so because you're always trying to improve in Google Ads. So, you know, and I mean, although they say that Google Ads and SEO are separate and distinct, which they are, they do affect one another. If I do see a person's business twice on a page, 3 times on a page, you know, because they're doing an ad and maybe they show up in the map section and, you know, maybe they show up in the organic, I am probably more likely to click on them without knowing why, because I've seen them 3 times. That repetition thing does make a difference, but that's, I guess, an aside. We could go on. It's so interesting what's going on. That's what's breaking news. Things are on fire. People are freaking out. It's super exciting around here. And that's the news. So feel free to ask us questions. Feel free to pipe in about this breaking change in Google search. Breaking change. There's lots of changes. GA4, breaking change, right? We will talk more about that on another day. We have really enjoyed talking with you. And we will see you all next time. Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.
The conversation never stops in our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks. Join us at facebook.com/groups/cyberpunk geeks to ask your questions, meet new friends, and learn even more about search, social, and websites.